Barco Liqueur, a podcast network.
That sucks, man. Okay, before we get into it, Twitter, Instagram, plugs, anything you got to promote, your band, how can people find you, all that good stuff. Go ahead and give it to them up top.
Yeah, for any fans of old school pop punk, we like bands like Reliant K, Sum 41, Newfound Glory, Blink-182, old school stuff like that. You can find my band Faded Youth on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, and you can find us on YouTube. People still do YouTube, right?
Yeah, for sure. This will be on YouTube.
Okay, this will be on YouTube, so you can find this on YouTube as well. I do open mics, Zachary Dehoyos, every now and then. That's where I'm at right now. I don't have any shows coming up, but if I ever do, please follow my pages. Follow me on Instagram at every... My Instagram name is French Fries and Oreos. It's French underspace, fries underspace, and Oreos. And it's really easy to find me. Facebook, Zachary Dehoyos. Snapchat, you can add me on Snapchat. My name is Nostalzac27 on Snapchat. Yeah, that's about it.
Nostalzac. That's pretty cool. Why French fries and Oreos for your Instagram?
Because I just grew up on like Adam Sandler movies.
And what's that?
It's what Mr. Deeds. Whenever he hands Steve Buscemi's Crazy Eyes, his character, he hands him a pizza through the jail cell, and Steve Buscemi is like, French fries and Oreos. You know me all too well, Deeds.
Oh, okay.
It's just a homage to the movies I grew up on.
No, that's cool, man. So Faded Youth, how long have you been doing that?
I've been playing bass for Faded Youth. We started in 2013, 2014. We were rocking it for a couple of years. Then we took a little hiatus. Then we got back together probably like 2 or 3 years ago. Completely new lineup. The only original members are me and the singer Mac Withrow. And Mac's, between that time, Mac was just in a bunch of indie bands playing house shows or, whatever he can play here in San Antonio. And he had messaged me while I was at work. And it was just another late night at work. I was working at HEB, and he just messaged me asking if I would be open to starting up Faded Youth again with him. And I was like, yes, dude, I'm down. And like he even told me, he was like, Zach, I'm serious. I was like, no, I know you are. I'm down. Because I didn't have anything going on. I was just, just working full time. I was tired as fuck, but I know that I still wanted to pursue some type of passion in my life. So we've been doing that ever since. And we put out a music video, at least 3 singles. Ever since we got back together, we've gone through like 2 drummers. We're looking for a drummer right now. We went through 1 guitarist, and it's just it's always like a
rotating door.
Yeah, revolving doors.
Revolving door. There you go.
That's like usually how it is for like the music scene or just like art in general. There's always people coming and going who like kind of grow out of something and they want to pursue something else. So, but I just love making pop punk. I've always loved it ever since I was. I got into it to like the early 2000s from my older brother Joshua. He would always play all these CDs whenever my dad would drop us off at work, like early drive-through records bands like Finch, Census Fail, Newfound Glory, and he would play Linkin Park, and that's kind of how I got into the early 2000s Warped Tour mall emo band type of sound.
Damn, 2000s. Yeah. So you just turned 30, right?
Yeah, I turned 30 on the 26th November.
Man, so you're kind of young, dude. Yeah. Faded Youth, is that the only band that you've done?
I've done like a lot of bands, like growing up. Like I was in countless bands just because I love playing music, and I grew up in a small town, so it was either that or like start doing meth.
Yeah.
But we would have shows down at the park by my house. And that's where I saw a bunch of older bands playing growing up. Like my brother's friends, I would always sneak out to go see his bands play there. And it was not that far of a walk from my house at all. So it was always fun sneaking out. There's always like a little rebellious aspect to it that I always liked about just like sneaking out to go see all these rock bands play.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted to keep going whenever I got older, and I was able to run out the park by myself and ask my own friends' bands to play. So we would always do that, and I was in countless bands, probably like a Misfits Black Flag cover band. We were called the Crypt Kids, and I was in metalcore bands as well, and I was just all over the place. But really, pop punk is like pop punk or punk rock is like my that's my home base really.
You ever done any tours with these bands?
No, we almost went on a tour last year, but I think our singer just had some problems. I honestly forgot what the reason was, but I've always wanted to go on tour. I've always liked being on the road.
Yeah,
which is like one of the attractions to my job right now is that I deliver for HEB, and like that's the only cool part about it. I like to tell myself that I'm on the road, but I'm just fucking delivering tortillas.
So because the band stuff didn't work out, is that what influenced you to start doing comedy, start doing open mics?
Yeah, that's
because it's on your own schedule.
Exactly. That's literally what I want to say. I'm on my own schedule. I can just like wake up, write some jokes down, whatever I'm thinking about, and just try it out and just like build a set slowly. But I've always liked the idea of just always being on the move and just like always have something to look forward to. I'm just like recently I just turned 30 and I just don't like being like home all the time. I just want to be, hanging out or just making somebody laugh. That's just the entertainer in me.
Yeah.
Because even like, those school, I don't know if they're called like aptitude tests or whatever. They would make you take them in junior high to see what you're going to be in life or what you want to be. Mm-hmm. And mine was like entertainer or comedian.
It says that on the test?
Yeah. Well, it said entertainer.
Yeah.
But I could be making up the comedian, just for like.
No, but the fact that it says entertainer, like there's an actual test that says whether or not you'd be good at being an entertainer. That's pretty funny. I don't know if I've been out of high school so long. I don't even know what test I took. It doesn't matter. I don't remember any of it. What was your start in open micing? Like, what was how did you get started finally?
Tandem.
Yeah,
I think you're probably there that night. It was around the beginning of this year, and I had I've always had people telling me I should do open mics because I would always especially around like the pandemic we had and like this like recent like political season we had. I was always just writing jokes, making fun of people on Facebook, and just people would always tell me just like you should try and make something out of this.
Yeah.
So I tried Tandem and I got a good response. I think I did. I didn't record it or anything. I should have but I felt good coming off it because people were laughing and there's still awkwardness obviously in my presentation in the air, but I just love the fact that people were actually laughing. Yeah. And I've just kind of been going from there. I stopped for a little bit for a good while afterwards. Because I think like the second open mic attempt, because I've heard from some comics that they do a good first round.
The first time's always the best,
and then the second time they fucking start bombing.
Yeah, the first time's always the best because one, you're just happy that you did it.
Yep.
And if you got like one laugh in 5 minutes, you're like, I'm doing this thing. Yeah, dude. I remember exactly, and that's what it is because. Again, you're just proud of yourself for actually doing it.
Yep.
You survived. You had fun doing it. You got a laugh or two, and you're thinking, this is fucking amazing. And then you go to a different mic. Was it still the same Tandem? Was it still the same spot?
Tandem, but afterwards I did, it was the open mic at Oak Hills Tavern.
Oh, yeah, man. Oak Hills is rough.
I did because you're literally playing by the side of the road. It's open air and there's freaking like domestic violence happening right there next to you, and it was hosted by a writer, I believe.
Yeah.
And I was going a little improv-y. It was my first attempt at improv, and I said like the worst things you could ever say in like a 2021 crowd, a progressive environment. I said like I had said some stupid shit like. I was talking about, I was trying to make a joke about Governor Abbott and like the whole abortion thing. And me, a man, I said, but somebody has to stand up for the women.
Yeah.
I said that, and I'm a guy. So I just heard a bunch of groans and all that afterwards. And that was the first time my friend had recorded me. I was ever recorded. So the first time I've ever been recorded was me bombing, and I heard all the groans in the recording, and I never posted that video. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So I stopped for a little bit, just out of embarrassment, but then I just got back into it. You know, people are gonna groan at you.
How long of a break was that?
Probably like 2 months.
2 months.
It really affected me. I don't know. It really messed me up. But then I just, you know, I was still writing jokes in my head, and I just wanted to get back at it. You know, just jokes. They're not for everybody. You know, it's like comedy's relative to each person. So you're gonna find your group, even if it's like a small niche of people who like your humor. But
Yeah.
it's still out there. You just gotta. You still have to be prepared to own what you say.
Yeah. That was pretty similar to mine too. My first time was good. The second time I went to a room with just nothing but comics and complete silence. And I cried and I quit for about 4 months.
Dude.
Yeah.
Making other comics laugh is the hardest thing.
It's impossible. It's impossible. One, because they don't really care. They're not really listening.
Yeah.
And yeah, other comics don't really laugh at other comics, really.
Because most of the time they can see your punchline coming.
That, or maybe they've heard you do the same thing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and it's not really like, I don't know. It's not like they're not trying to bully you, trying to be mean and stuff. That's just like that's just how open mics work. You know,
Yeah.
you're there to perform in front of the crowd. If there's a crowd, my second time there was no crowd, and it was pretty painful. I didn't realize all that before. I was like, man, these people fucking hate me, dude. And I took it pretty hard, and I stopped. And I was pretty mad because like I was upset with myself because I had for 5 months before even going up, I was just like trying to convince myself, and then did 2 times, and then I stopped. I was like, damn, dude, all that build up just to fucking quit. But I got back into it and having fun doing it, man.
Yeah, honestly, one of my favorite open mics to perform at is Upstage, but I bomb there probably most of the time because like by the time I go up, it's first of all it's open mic.
Yeah.
And it's still like a new club, so it's still like, you know, the audience is still building. But every time I go up, it's mostly comedians in the back, and you know, I don't get any laughs from them.
Yeah.
Probably like when I started out in Tandem, my first show, I heard I had a comedian compliment one of my jokes. I was like, okay, appreciate that, man. And I actually complimented him on stage. I was like, I stopped my joke to say thank you. And it's just, but Upstage, even though I love that venue, you know, I've bombed there a lot of times.
Yeah.
I just love going there. I know one day the crowds are gonna be right, and I'll be able to have a decent set.
Yeah.
But that's like one of the things that I've like heard from, because like prior to like starting, you know, doing comedy or open mics, I don't know if it was the same for you, but me, I watched a bunch of comedy documentaries. Like I watched the Comedy Store documentary on Showtime. Just kind of get me hyped for doing open mics. And it was Jay Leno, I believe, who said that if you wanna, if a joke does good at one stage, then you immediately go to another venue, like the next day or the next week, just to see how it works with that crowd. And if you get it like 2 out of 3, then it's a good joke. But if it's just one laugh from one venue, then you might want to throw it away. I don't know. I'm still up in the air of like my old like comedy theory of like how to write jokes or like what to give up or what not to give up. It's hard because I feel like I have a good I feel like I could have a good basis for a joke. Then I say it on stage and like nothing happens, and that kind of just makes me feel nervous. So I just kind of stop the joke altogether. I don't add much to it. Even when I get back like to my house, like I don't try and punch it up just because it bombed right away. Even though that's probably not a good way to look at it.
No, man, you can't give up on something just because somebody didn't react to it. If you think it's funny, you got to find the funny in it. And that's why it's good to record, because you may say the same joke different. You may have a different pause. You may have a different inflection. You may use different words in place of other words. Like you're always changing it. You're always working on it until it gets the reaction that you want from it. There's a lot of there's people that just give up on stuff if it doesn't work the first time that they. I mean, I've done it too a lot. It's like, oh, it's bullshit, but. That's why the recording, the listening back, even the watching yourself, and taking notes and just rewriting stuff and like psyching yourself up to like say it again, try it again at a different time, a different mic, with different people. Man. But you, and I know that you're working on it. Like you work with your notebook, and I think that could be hard too. You're not really connecting with the audience. You're like in your book and all that stuff. And again, it could be if that's how you work, that's how you work. Like maybe that's your stick. Bringing out a notebook and all this stuff. I don't know. I don't know anything about nothing.
No, it's definitely not my stick. I don't want it to be a stick. It's just all I've done so far are open mics, and I see people with papers on the open mic stage. So I feel like I can use notebook for open mics at least. But if I ever get an actual legit show, I definitely will have stuff memorized because I really want to be part of I want to be as close to the real thing as I can be with my jokes.
Yeah, but you got to look at the open mics as a performance as well. I mean, you got to be up there and not really be. I mean, if it's a new joke, you got to read it out if you need to, but you're also working on your pacing, your timing of the jokes that you already know. Yeah. And see how that works. But I mean, you're pretty new to it. Like when I saw you, I thought that you had been doing it for a while. But you said you're pretty new to it. Yeah. You're still learning, still having fun with it.
Definitely still having fun. Like if it's not fun, then I probably wouldn't do it. But I like going to open mics and then afterwards meeting new comics.
Yeah. Let's go back into music, man. So in these bands, what's your instrument?
For pop punk, for this band Faded Youth, I just played bass. I was playing guitar. I started playing guitar in junior high. And my mom and dad got me a pawn shop guitar, and I was really into it for 6 years. Throughout junior high and high school, I would play high school talent shows with that guitar, and then afterwards, I figured if I can play guitar, I could play bass. And my band Faded Youth, they were looking for a bass player around 2013, 2014, and I was like, I can do that. So I just learned the song real quick, and I kind of was playing everything on a higher octave, but I was one out of two people who tried out, and the other person was just fucking god awful from what I heard. Yeah, and they accepted me, and they kind of taught me the actual chords, but it was a good feeling, just being in a band like that and actually having original songs. Yeah. And we played shows pretty soon afterwards. We've been to Laredo, Fredericksburg, here at San Marcos. That's really all I can think of. All the places we've been. Yeah. But I just like I said, I just love being on the road and having typical band banter, musician banter with friends, just talking shit about each other, talking shit about movies. It's just cool. It's I don't know. It's just it's a nice thing meeting different kinds of people when you're on the road.
Yeah. What bands though got you into wanting to actually pick up a guitar or pick up a bass?
Just to play music in general. Just to play music in general. I was getting ready for school. I was waiting for my brothers to get ready for school. And usually,
how big's your family?
I have 5 brothers.
You're the youngest?
No, I'm the middle.
A middle, okay.
So I have 2 older brothers, 2 younger brothers. And I was waiting for my brothers to get ready for school. I believe I was still in junior high. So I still had 1 older brother in the house and 2 younger brothers. My oldest brother had already moved out. I think he was in the army around then. But I was watching MTV2. And this music video came up of this little kid walking through a library, and he walks onto this tall stack of books, and there's a door that he walks through, and the door says "used bookstore," and he's walking through this library, and he opens this book, and just a very kind of a solemn guitar intro comes in, and you're this animation takes over the entire video, and you get sucked into the music video, and the whole band is coming in at this point, and I just love this song, and I was like, I love this sound, and that was my first introduction to not only emo music, but that was my introduction to my first favorite band of all time, The Used. I love The Used, and they inspired me from that time, from that moment on, to just want to make music for myself, and just to like kind of emote on stage. And I just always loved The Used for forever. Like I would I remember for Christmas one night my family had got me this CD DVD of The Used. It was like from their first album. Like they had just started out, and they had like recorded themselves play this live set, and it was a DVD of like all their live songs plus bonus tracks. And I couldn't wait till Christmas, so I took the present out under the Christmas tree like 2 days before, and I opened it, and I listened to the whole CD, and I watched the whole DVD, then I wrapped it and put it back under the Christmas tree.
Oh, wow, dude, that's funny. You already knew what you were going to get, so you unwrapped it, watched it, and wrapped it back up.
Yeah, I just couldn't wait, because I loved that band immensely at the time, and I still do.
Yeah.
I still do. But that band really, if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I'd be right now. It's probably like a little bit naive to say right now.
No, man, I get that. I mean, you connected with that. You found them later on though, because that video was like probably from their third album or something.
Yeah, it was from their it was from their In Love and Death album, which came out in 2004. That was their second album. Mm-hmm. The first album was self-titled. That came out in like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
But that was a good time in my life. Just for as far as music, and just like making friends based off of just I would wear a bunch of band tees, and like they would see my band tees at junior high. Like I would have a shirt that said The Used, and I would just have other emos come up to me like, "Hey, I like that band," and I still have a lot of good friendships based off of just like liking the same bands, liking the same music, and we all still keep in touch.
That's funny. I've never heard of them called the emos, like the emo kids or whatever. But like a bunch of emos would come up to me and go like, "I like your shirt."
Yeah, it changes. People just like putting labels on things just to make it easier to like understand, or like just to call them out. But yeah, it's really all the same thing. Like emo is short for emotional, but you realize all music is emotional. So
yeah, it all has emotion attached to it. But just like because of the genre of the post-hardcore, hardcore, emo-core stuff.
It was the aesthetic that kind of made it more easier to call out than other genres, because these guys, these are like manorexic skinny guys, kind of with eyeliner and eyeshadow and like tight shirts.
Did you ever do that? Did you do the guy liner?
I never did a guy liner. I didn't even start wearing skinny jeans until after I graduated high school. It was mostly just the band tees. I would have girls probably braid my hair, but that's probably just something else.
That's a good joke.
But no, I never really did any of the of the super cringy stuff like snake bites, or like I know some of the emo guys, they'd put like flower type of hairpins in their hair just to be more like feminine. But that really wasn't me at the time. I just liked wearing band tees and baggy pants. It was more of a grungy approach to being an emo kid.
Were you into grunge?
Yeah, I mean just like the basic bands. Like I never really got that much into it. So like Nirvana.
So you were into rock music. You just didn't want to play until you saw that Used video. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I always loved rock music. Like growing up, before I got into the Used, I had already loved Foo Fighters. I love The Darkness, and I love Nirvana.
Yeah.
Just like those three bands, and Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like all those music videos that would play in the early mornings on MTV in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I loved all that stuff. And I just, that's kind of where I was at that point. And then I just took it from there and kind of just wanted to find my own identity. And that's kind of how I discovered The Used.
In early 2000s, was that middle school for you?
Yeah.
Wow, man. You're so young.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Was any of your brothers like into music, or any like your parents, were they into music, like playing instruments and anything like that?
Not really. My brother Joshua, he was the one who kind of got me into emo screamo because he would play, a bunch of early emo bands. So I would always ask him to burn me CDs. Like,
Yeah.
I would ask him late at night, and I wouldn't sleep until he made me the CD. And it was very awkward for him because I was right there next to his room. So I would knock on his door like, "Hey, are you done with the CD yet?" Because I would like write a list and like put it under his door to make for me. And he had LimeWire at the time, and he was just burning CDs. So it was cool. It was cool being able to kind of have that kind of bond with him because if it wasn't for him, it would have been a lot harder for me to have bands to get into around whenever emo was barely starting up.
Yeah.
And also there was even before the early MTV days, I remember my dad. He used to deliver newspapers across town and like neighboring towns, and it was like a big yellow truck, a big old school yellow truck.
Mm-hmm.
And he would listen to shit like Eddie Money and Foghat and AC/DC on a little tape deck. And I just remember like cruising around like whenever the sun was going down and you're seeing that sunset on like country roads and just listening to this like Eddie Money. And that was also a good vibe as well. That was my first kind of introduction to like rock and just like pop melody type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
You had young parents, very young,
I guess
like when they had you.
yeah, because my oldest brother Vince, he was pretty old, and I know my mom was actually pretty young when she had him, and like there was a whole different house that I never even grew up in before I was born.
Yeah.
So it was just him and my older brother Josh, my second oldest brother Josh. So yeah, I think my dad came here from Mexico. Like my grandpa was already here for like several years, and he finally got the papers to get them to come over.
Mm.
And he came over, and my dad finally came over here, and he met my mom. And my dad's family is already really big, and my mom's family is already really big. So, and like my dad's the only son out of like 6 or 7 daughters.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like he had nothing but boys. And I think his dad had wanted nothing but boys. So it's just a nice little contrast.
Yeah. But no, but like they were still young enough that they were enjoying like kind of like the cool music, the cool rock.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like old music listening.
Actually,
people.
honestly, I think my mom's really into like a lot of that 70s or 80s disco music.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times that I see her listening to that, and I don't mind that either.
Yeah.
But really, I think they like listen to like a lot of surface level beginner rock bands, which I didn't mind at the time because I was still a little kid. But I was around it enough to realize that I had liked rock as a genre, and whatever like genre was branched out of rock, I was still pretty much going to be into. Like if you go to Emo Nights at Brass Monkey, which is what I do at the end of every month, the last Wednesday, Circus Survive is one of those big bands in San Antonio. They're like Deftones status. Like a lot of people go crazy over fucking Circus Survive. So I was definitely well introduced to them throughout my upbringing. Like I love listening to them as well. And then because I first heard of Seosin.
Yeah.
I first heard Seosin, and then I heard that the original singer was like a lot better. And I was like, how can anything be better than Voices? Because Voices came out with the new singer. And I was like, this is an amazing song. Are you telling me that there is like another there is better music with a different singer made by this band?
Yeah.
And they said yes. Check out Anthony Green. Check out Circus Survive. And I did. I was like, holy crap, this guy has a great voice. And I think. One of the last shows I ever saw, it was of Anthony Green. I saw them in Austin, part of this like little offshoot tour of Warped Tour. Warped Tour just ended, but you can tell that this was an attempt to bring it back, but under a different name. So I saw The Used, Thrice, Circus Survive, Story So Far, bands like that, and Circus Survive had played, and I love Anthony Green, and I can always be down to jam his music.
Yeah.
Dude, they were one of those bands that you really had to know if you wanted to talk to like hot emo girls, because emo girls love Circus Survive.
Yeah, it could be about like the girls. Yeah, I guess. But
That's one thing I learned after liking Circus Survive. I didn't like them because emo girls liked them, but I realized that because I had already liked them, I could have a lot better conversations with these emo girls.
yeah. But yeah, the translating the name from Seosen was really
Yep.
fucking amazing, and then to see them play live, and then he quit the band shortly after that tour, and then it was a couple years later that he started with the Circus Survive one. They're a good band. I was only into like their first couple albums. The first album was really amazing. Not really quite sure why I fell off with the Circus Survive.
It could probably be a part of changing because around the same time, whenever they were getting big, it was also like bands like The Used and Thursday, Mike Cam, Taking Back Sunday. They were also getting big at the same time. A bunch of bands, like that was when the bubble had bursted. It was the early 2000s, the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
The bubble had bursted, and you can tell which sound was a lucrative sound. So a bunch of bands wanted to do that. And Circus Survive, they were able to like etch out their own sound, but still be just as like widely recognizable as a staple band of the emo culture. And that's what I always liked about them, is that even though they're all part of the same genre, they were able to just create their own unique sound. Like you can go from The Used to Circus Survive and they're completely different, but people still call them emo bands.
Different voice. Anthony Green's voice is very unique, and he actually talks like that. Like he has a very high pitched talking voice, which is very like, I don't know. Sometimes like the singing voice doesn't really make sense. Like it sounds like it's painful, and then you hear his talking voice, and it's like, well, he has no other choice but to sound like that.
Poor guy. He's literally just talking on the mic. He's not even singing.
Yeah.
In the early Warped Tour days, they also had a good exposition of like punk rock bands. Like they would have Social Distortion, Against Me, Rise Against, No Effects, Bouncing Souls, Rancid, Casualties. They have good punk bands, and I also love that aspect. I actually missed that aspect of Warped Tour, but I was able to get into a lot of different types of rock because of just like those early Warped Tour compilation CDs, like 2004 to 2007. I would buy those CDs and I would hang up the lyrics on my walls, and like all of the album art, I would hang that on my walls. And I just love not only emo music, but just like the whole punk rock aesthetic of Warped Tour in the early days.
Were you a sad kid because you listened to emo music, or did you listen to emo music because you were a sad kid?
I feel like it did probably prolong my sadness more than it should have been. There's probably some naivety to me being like sad, like I'm doing this to myself, like it's really not that bad. But at the same time, I always wore my heart on my sleeve, and I think it was just like something that was like meant to happen. Like I was meant to find emo music because I was getting my heart broken a lot, and just emo music was a nice escape for me. So it was probably a mixed bag. Like it probably didn't help, but at the same time I didn't really care because it was kind of like my own catharsis. It was like a double-edged sword kind of. So I felt good about it, and then like the next day I would just kind of just go through the same motions all over again.
Yeah. When you went to the Emo Nite, have you been to the one where there was only one that I've been to, and it was with Shane from Silverstein? He was doing the DJ set.
Yeah, that was at Brass Monkey. I actually had COVID around that time.
Did you go to that one still?
No, I didn't go to that one.
Oh, okay.
I had COVID, dude.
I don't know. People were going out with COVID all the time. That's how it's getting passed.
I was really into like the COVID struggle, dude. It was really bad, and but no, I wish I was able to go, but it was a good time. My friends dropped me off a shirt. They were kind of keeping their own little social distance. And then I brought it back into my room and I sprayed it down with Lysol. My shirt, I sprayed it down like both sides. Yeah. Just because I had to be safe. I was still going through it. But that was that was the first time they ever had like a special guest star for that Emo Nite event at Brass Monkey.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. Like it was packed. It was packed. There was a line around the building and stuff.
Yeah.
We got to get in because Brendan is friends with Shane, and so we showed up late. And I've never been to one of those emo nights before, but the people were going crazy. It was so much fun, man. I think that was like the first time that I was in a crowded bar like that. Because of course I went out, mask and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But to see so many people in a small
moshing
to videos.
Yes.
Not even a live band. They were moshing to videos.
It is weird when you're on the outside looking in. But if you've just been going to Brass Monkey for a while, it's so easy to feed off the vibe because the Brass Monkey, it's a small venue, so it's easier to like get comfortable, especially in a big crowd and with like all these music videos, kind of setting the mood and the aesthetic and the fog machine and everybody's drinking.
Yeah,
it's so easy just to start pushing people because I'm always in the mosh pit.
Yeah,
I love being right in the middle of everything. When I first started going to emo nights, I was really like a fly on the wall, but drinking kind of just made me feel more comfortable with just like living my best life out there at a Brass Monkey.
Yeah, man, it was just crazy that people were like, because I get in the pit, I get to do the mosh pit, but like at live shows, I don't do it so much anymore. I think I hurt myself at the last one. My back is still fucking messed up, but yeah, dude, it was so wild to see them like get down on music videos.
Honestly,
moshing of music videos.
It's not any different than like people like doing two-stepping at like a Thirsty Horse.
No, there's a difference. I mean, like, cause like you're moved by like the loudness, by the live aspect of it. I mean, that's what I thought. I thought you get carried away because you're watching people get carried away on stage, and so you're inspired to start moving and slamming. For me,
it's about like just like the music just like translates differently. Like, dude, like wherever you are, music's gonna make you probably the same way. And if enough people around you feel the same, then everybody's going to feed off of that vibe.
Yeah.
So there could be a live band, and there should be a live band most of the time, but at Brass Monkey, it's just like it's just the same as people like doing the cumbia at like Tejano nights. They're like doing their own little dances to like just like a DJ. This is our cumbia fucking moshing people without a live band.
I don't know. That was the first time I saw that. Like, yeah, to like a DJ set, a video when they were just moshing and going at it. And yeah, it was crazy, dude. What was funny is that like he was playing. He was on a roll, man, playing like
all the hits.
Hits after hits after hits, Motion City soundtrack, Paramore,
Yellow Card,
Taking Back Sunday, and then he's like, I got a special request. This guy is on like whatever Patreon thing that he's on, and he puts on Boys Night Out. I don't know what track it is, but it's from Make Yourself Sick, and everybody stood still, like nobody knew what was going on.
That's a little too old for them.
Yeah, dude, and I liked it. I was like singing along, and Brendan, because Brendan was there and Joey was there, and I was just like jamming out, singing along, and Brendan's like, dude, nobody knows this song. I was like, I know this song.
It's funny because like in the beginning of the emo nights is whenever they play all the older pop punk bands, so they'll play shit like Alistair and Phoenix, Texas.
Yeah.
All these old, and like nobody knows them, and I'm just there just kind of like singing to myself because I'm essentially there because the emo phase got probably a lot bigger after I had graduated high school. So so a lot more kids. A lot more of the younger generation are coming out to these Brass Monkey shows, so I'm kind of the old guard, and that just makes you seem older.
No, man, I felt so out of place. I really did, but I mean, a lot of the stuff was from like early 2000s. Yeah, early like all the music that they were playing, I knew. It was just like these kids are into it. I was like, this used to belong to me, and now y'all have the energy to fuck with it and have mosh pits with it and all that stuff. It was cool. I don't know if I would do it again. I mean, Brendan told me about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll go check it out. Because that's all it was. It was somebody like playing videos. I was like, yeah, I guess that's cool. But the vibe was really cool, man.
Yeah, it's dead.
And it was just wild that they were like slam dancing and like moshing and all that stuff to music videos. I was like, the band's not here. Like,
the band's not there, but there's music videos all like there's like probably like 5 or 6 TVs and they're surrounding you. Yeah. And just like I said, it's a venue that size. It's so much easier because like First of all, I'm a part of this Facebook page called. I'm a moderator for the San Antonio Emo Kids. So, and a lot of those people go out to the Brass Monkey Emo Night. So we kind of already know each other. We're all comfortable with each other. So it's like it's a lot easier for us to mosh with each other because of that fact.
Yeah.
Like we're just there posting emo memes or talking to each other, like asking when the next emo night is gonna be. So we like plan meetups there. So it's a lot easier for us to get comfortable there nowadays.
Yeah.
Because of because of shit like Facebook. Yeah, whenever I'm not posting, fucking jokes or like trying out my jokes on Facebook, I'm always on the emo page. So that's just kind of like my whole duality. I'm just like an emo kid, and I'm also an aspiring stand-up comic.
Yeah. What are your plans on that? Do you have any? You said you don't have any shows coming up. You're not trying to book any shows. You're just doing the open mics.
Yeah, I'm just doing open mics, trying to build my, like you said, my whole presentation, my cadence, everything, my delivery process. Kind of figure out how to work a crowd first, how to improvise. And like I'm still really green around the gills towards all this, but I know people like my jokes.
Yeah.
At least for now at least. I have the Elbow Room later tonight. I'm gonna go do that and just try out and hang out with Drew Blues and Cousin Berto and all of them. Just it's you have to keep up with it, because if you hang out with other comedians, it also makes you a better comedian. Like,
yeah,
you guys can bounce jokes off of each other, or like you can just find a punchline that wasn't there. It's weird because like sometimes it's just unspoken hanging out with other comedians, like just like something comes across through the airwaves and it hits you and you're just like, oh yeah, I could end it like this. Like I don't know if it's like indirectly or like subconsciously. Just hanging out with other comedians, especially real seasoned comedians, it makes you, it just makes you more comfortable being like yourself as a comedian.
What about with music? Do you have anything coming up with the music thing? Any more releases? Any more shows or tours with that?
No, they haven't. Like I have a group chat with the band, but we don't really talk. We're not talking about that right now. We were talking about doing a Christmas song, but I don't know if that's still happening. I haven't heard any updates about that. So it's really just like I'm just whenever they're ready, I'm ready. Like I always love playing music, but right now I'm just kind of substituting that with open mics. But open mics just comedy in general is slowly starting to take over my life a lot more. Because I realize that like a lot of comics, I see the misfit aesthetic more in the comedy scene than I do in the rock scene in San Antonio. Because a lot of the rock scene is like more superficial, passive aggressive. In the comic scene, if they don't like you, they probably just roast you, and you guys can just roast each other. And I think that's kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just. And in the comedy scene, I see a lot more people from different walks of life, and it's just cool being able just to shoot the shit, like, and actually feel comfortable to joke around with anybody, even if other comics aren't liking like what you're talking about. You guys can still have like well respected conversations about just comedy in general. At least with all the comics who are cool with talking to other comics, because. Just like in the music scene, I'm pretty sure there are comics who just like go in, do a set and leave, and they don't they might see themselves as like probably just like better than other comics, but I don't ever aspire to be that. I just want to talk to as many comics as I can from different walks of life, because I just love hearing what they have to say, because they have great advice or at least great jokes. It's been a wonderful experience so far.
Yeah, it's early. You're gonna hate it pretty soon. No, it's good. I mean, it's a small community. Which has its pros and cons. There's not. I mean, I get along with everybody. I respect everybody, but. Yeah, man, it is tough. Like I wish there was more mics per day. It's hard. There's not a mic on Monday that I know of.
No, for me, it's always Tuesdays, LOL Club, Elbow Room. Wednesday it's Upstage and Fitzgerald's. Thursday It's Jokesters and Tandem back to back, and Friday you have to get in there, or you have to the whole Blind Tiger thing. That's like something completely different, but it's still geared towards comics.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like usually that's the schedule. That's the schedule that I'm building right now. Is like going to all these open mics, and then ending it on Friday by wanting to go to the Blind Tiger and help out there.
Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's about it, dude.
Yeah.
That's about it. Support your local comedy, your local music in general. Beware of Omicron if you want. Doesn't really matter anymore, guys.
Yeah.
It's all a simulation.
That's cool, man. Thanks for doing this, man. Guess you got to get to the mic. And, yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you, guys.